Athletes in the country. Hi everyone, Neil Sika with the King of Cool for the Kids, the National Scouting Director for the East Bay and U.S. Army All-American Bulls, Eric Richards. How you doing, my friend?
Great to be back. Great to see you again.
Day 3, we've had some top-level competition. The linebackers, the defensive backs have impressed. So have the receivers here through the first 2 days of camp. What are we going to see in day 3, Eric?
Well, I mean, we're bringing a new drill to FBU Top Gun. We didn't even run it during the regional camp, so we're going to introduce it here at Top Gun and roll it out for 2015. It's a little two-over-two concept so that the corner and safety can work a little man coverage. Two receivers in route, one ball, makes the quarterback make the right decision, unlike one-on-one to where he has to be forced to throw in the ball whether the receiver's covered or not.
All right, our commander-in-chief's going to stick around, and we're going to break some of this down in the first 20 minutes or so. But first, the campers started their day by hearing from a U.S. Army All-American alumnus. That's Myron Rolle, who was also a Rhodes Scholar. He spoke with our Joe Buffard earlier this morning.
Joe Buffard here at day 3 at Top Gun 2014. No stranger to the All-American Game family. Myron Rolle came in all the way in from his medical school and came in here and spent the morning, gave a fantastic motivational speech. Myron, no stranger, 2005, U.S. Army All-American, went on to huge success at Florida State, gets drafted by the Titans, but very unique to him is that he's a Rhodes Scholar, really blending the athleticism and academics at the highest level. So, Myron, welcome back. You just got done wrapping up with a fantastic speech, standing ovation from the athletes in there, and you talked about athletic machinery and things like that. So kind of share what was your main focus to get across to those athletes?
Well, I want to tell them that if they focus on education, they develop and accrue intellectual capital by refining that mental machinery, they can have a successful life, have many different options. And I tell them they think every day as a football player, you can think as a student and as a leader as well. Then I told them about being service driven and giving to another person and then actually mobilizing, getting out and doing it. It's not enough to just theorize and conceptualize what's wrong, but you got to get forward and go moving in the front lines.
Fantastic. So what's next in the next chapter for you? Where are you still continuing towards your goal, towards medical degree in neurology, I believe it was?
That's right. Yeah, I'm a second-year medical student at Florida State University College of Medicine, and I want to be a pediatric neurosurgeon. So it's 2 more years of school and then 7 years of residency. So it's a long time, but it's going to be quality, and I'm excited about the journey.
So with that 7-year journey towards you, obviously you did a 7-year more than probably that playing football to get your goal of playing in the NFL. What experiences on that football journey of success are you using now towards your professional degree?
A lot of them. I mean, preparation, hard work, focus, attention to detail, communication, overcoming adversity, strategizing. I mean, everything I did as a football player in practice and in games, in the spotlight when you're exposed. I mean, when you're in the spotlight, 85,000 people watching in Doak Campbell Stadium, you know, it's kind of similar to being in the spotlight, standing in front of an attending physician and trying to resect some kind of tumor. So there's a lot of similarities and parallels that I was able to draw from my experience as a football player to hopefully help me be an outstanding physician one day.
Fantastic. We really appreciate you having here. I know you got a busy schedule. Got to get back and hit those books. And again, it's great to see Myron Rolle here in 2014 Top Gun.
Hope everyone's 2% better after listening to that interview. One of the greats, not only in U.S. Army history, a fine pro career, and now studying to be a doctor. We're watching the 2-on-2s as we've started our 3rd day here at FBU Top Gun 2014. Neil Sika, Eric Richards to bring you the coverage, and we'll motor on throughout the hour. The 2-on-2 format, you were just elaborating on it a little bit. We'll see 7-on-7s a little bit later in the day, but this is a chance for some individual work.
Right. What it does, Neil, like I was saying, as opposed to the one-on-ones where the quarterback, and here we hear James Morgan with the pass live here, as a quarterback in one-on-one is just forced to throw to the receiver, whether he's covered or not. The 2-over-2 allows him to take the best option available. That doesn't mean both guys or one guy's even going to be open, but he can choose the best option. So what we're looking for is the quarterback's read and reaction through his progression. Got a 1-2 progression here, and he takes the best option real quick.
Nearly some acrobatics down around the goal line. We've seen some fantastic catches and individual plays over the last 2 days.
And on the other end of the field, you know, can't see it on camera. We got our running backs and linebackers going one-on-one. As you look out over this setting, Neil, the different colors of all the other fields with all the other classes, pretty impressive from up here.
Almost 700 campers here at the high school edition.
Here we got Lyndall Stone on the right tee, right half, And Davis Mills with a beautiful pass to the corner of the end zone. I can't tell which receiver that is. It might be Kane, but that was the two young 2017s that had a quite impressive camp so far.
Kane has had a standout camp. You just mentioned the two quarterbacks up amongst the top here at Top Gun 2014. Every year you're trying to get this camp better. It's the elite after those who attend regional camps, or maybe not. Maybe they find their way in here. But
yeah,
what's been the biggest adjustment here in 2014 in making the camp better?
It's always staying fresh, not looking in the rearview mirror, worrying about what other camps are doing. We get out to a lot of college and pro mini camps and kind of take each year. Of course, with our FBU instructors, many of them working and consulting for NFL teams, it's easy for them to bring drills back to us and incorporate into the camps. And it's all about reps. I mean, the Top Gun showcase is not per se a camp. It's more of a showcase, and we're trying to get these with our partnership with XOs. I guarantee you athletes can walk out of here with a minimum of 10 to 12 plays they can use to cut up for their highlight tape and get out to colleges.
So Michael Purdue, tight end from Cave Spring, Virginia, make that last reception.
Nice ball right there on the right hash.
Went against a pretty good corner and a fine reception to bring it in. And groups of three split up into teams A, B, and C.
Look, you saw the 2-over-2 work very good, right? That was a busted coverage there, Neil. The corner jumped the receiver route, and then they just ran a little curl underneath, and it opened wide up, and that was it, working it at its fullest.
Now the quarterback Ellis from Florida delivering that ball and making the right decision, which is all about read and react, and that's part of the FBU process. The coach is right there to help make any adjustments if something goes awry, that throw a little bit underneath.
The right hash, our linebacker, won the battle against that huge tight end. Good little speed out. Quarterback made the right call there. Just took what the defense given him. Now, obviously, you're going to have a linebacker come out and help you in coverage here and everything else. So even though it's a short 5-yard game, linebackers would normally pick that up for a tackle, but that's what we call checking down to your safety valve.
We'll watch Davis Mills in action here.
Again, Davis. I mean, you've seen his growth over the last 3 years, Neil. I mean, he's got to be up to 6'3". Plays out of Norcross, Georgia, Greater Atlanta Christian High School, and his quarterback instructors, Chris Miller and Jeff Rowledge, have raved about the camp he's had. Probably going to walk away with the overall leader at quarterback. Beautiful route on the outside sideline.
Davis Mills was a member of the GFL, the 8th grade national championship team.
Went from there and then came back and quarterbacked the FBU 9th grade team last year to probably one of the most exciting games we ever had, a 31-30 game, if you remember, in overtime.
It shouldn't be lost on anyone. Some of those players found a Top Gun, and you're always keeping a keen eye to keep up the competition in those games.
I want the viewers to view in on the left hash over here defensively. You got D'Angelo Gibbs, who's the top 2017 corner in the country, and Richard LeCount, the top 2017 safety in the country. Both of them have over, as you can imagine, no completion on that side of the field. Both of them have over 20 offers apiece, and I'm talking BCS offers. Richard LeCount's out of Liberty County High School in Hinesville, Georgia, and D'Angelo Gibbs is out of Peachtree Ridge High School. Again, two 2017s that participated in a couple other national showcases, and it just seems like with the instruction, especially from FBU camps, that these athletes are ready to go and compete against the older kids because the athleticism is neutralized by the technique.
I was just going to say, to speak to that, we've got a lot of juniors and sophomores from the classes of 2016 and 17 that, well, case in point was a Stone or a Mills. They're making impressions now as not only the best players in their class, but at the camp.
Correct.
So we're watching these 2-on-2s. It's the final day of Top Gun 2014. What is your favorite part of the entire week? I know it's quick. I mean, bursts of almost 36
it goes
hours.
quick. Didn't we just open this thing up? I think the best part, to be honest with you, is the closing ceremony, because I know we've taken an athlete and made them a better player than when they came through the door on day one. And more importantly, I think we've taken and made them a better person with all the things that are interacted between Top Gun, with the seminars and the speakers, and you know, the movie previewing they got to see last night with 23 Blast. And I mean, so most people say goodbye is the worst part, but to me it's good, because we're sending on a more developed and polished product back to their communities and back to their high school, Neil.
Yeah, this is where it starts. The camp season coming to an end. We're
That's
just a few
Morgan
weeks
on
away.
the right-hand tee out of Wisconsin. Holds several offers. Number 437 for the viewers. Big, tall, rangy kid. Very smart. Real live arm. Been with the FBU program since he was a sixth grader. Looks like we got the Coconut Creek safeties on the far side. I'm going to throw a little motion in here to mix things up. On a post corner, and there's a little, just a little 5-yard in route to clear it out. Opened it wide up. Again, when you see the person with the hand on that, that's a tight end that does reps with his receivers, but he's going from his tight end slot and tight end routes. This is that's Sal out of Long Island, New York, number 96. Wow, with what a corner route. A little out, 10-yard out. Ball was on the money, and he made a nice grab.
And that's Sal DiCamillo.
Yep, DiCamillo. Found him in the Long Island, New York camp.
How often are you surprised by maybe someone you weren't expecting to be on your radar and then popping up? That's the beauty of having the regional camps.
There he is. I think the Trajan Doss out of Arkansas really caught everybody's eye in this camp. He plays quarterback at his high school team. He's going to be a receiver at the next level, but not a whole lot of people have heard of him because he plays quarterback. But he tore up the Oklahoma City camp, and he came here, and he's holding his own here also. I watch for him to come up to point him out when I see him. We got the quarterbacks throwing a little roll in it. Nice ball, right on the money. Can't block the quarterback for that one.
No, that's the big tight end Purdue again, who's been a target down the field. Wide receivers and DBs. Some of the top athletes in the country. Some have offers. Many are still just getting their high school careers going. Some have their radar on the U.S. Army All-American Bowl in future years.
And we started out with trips to the left and motion across the field.
That's Lindell Stone on the far side, hitting it to Benjamin Victor. He's another one of those Coconut Creek stars. There's a
Coconut Creek's
tripod
got
of them
three
here.
of them out there. That's a DB. What number is that, Neil? What played the man? Wide receiver wants the field. 23. These great uniforms Adidas have provided us, and the highlighter numbers, and
Well, you know, you wear bright clothing. I mean,
29.
the fashion out on the streets comes to the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's Xavier Crawford from Murrieta, California, out of Los
Wow,
Angeles.
it's nice for an undersized corner. That looked like the Burns, Lorenzo Burns on the coverage there, 241. He's a 2016 kid that was bumped up on day one. He's going to be a name that I'm telling you that's on the radar for all you recruiting nicks out there. Lorenzo Burns out of California. Not many receivers catching balls on him all week long.
Here at Top Gun, Third and final day of the high school camp.
Quarterback just had to that was great coverage on the right side of the hash.
That's
Ricky
unseasonably
Knuckles could not get open over from the left.
I was going to say,
on the
Eric, the
side.
conditions here have been unseasonably cool, but almost perfect for the athletes. It rained a lot overnight and into the morning. It's been misting much of the day, but
We didn't have any remembrance of Williamsburg, Virginia out there with 130 degrees on the turf and microwaved calves.
been saying it the last few days. This is new field turf here
All right.
at Kelt Stadium.
Looks like they're getting them a drink from our Gatorade, hydrating them up. Man, it's Gatorade. Even though it's been cool, they've kept the athletes popping this week.
Well, we know you're a busy man and want to get down on the action field level. Let me
I'm
check out a
excited
few
when you
more
make
of
the
those.
flip to running backs versus linebackers. There's a couple great running backs over there, and Neil, to keep an eye on. Cam Akers, number 364, is a 2017 running back out of Clinton, Mississippi. He was an MVP in the East Bay Youth All-American game as a ninth grader. He's going into his sophomore year. Has to play Wildcat for his team in Clinton, Mississippi. Quarterback, but totes the ball a lot. But on the next level, he's projected as a running back. Has been starting for his high school team since he's been an eighth grader.
We've seen a few prospects out of Mississippi over the last few years. We were just speaking to that the last couple of days, how the college programs, Ole Miss, Mississippi
And it looks
State.
like they're going to flip the DBs and linebackers so they get what we call new meat, new reps against new receivers. And cameras, we're going to flip down now to the running backs versus linebackers.
Can you stay with us for a few more
Yeah,
minutes?
yeah, absolutely. Get us through this. This is Cam White he's also out of Mississippi in the highlighter yellow shirt. He's a 2017. Chancellor Johnson is going to throw him the pass. I expect him to catch the ball because he's caught everything all week long. Viewers didn't get to see that one. And now we flip quarterbacks so that the quarterbacks get to work with the running backs a little bit. See a lot of shorter routes with running backs, obviously. A lot of outs, a lot of angles, a lot of angle returns. Just working underneath.
Yeah, it's quite different for them. I mean, they're almost being used as someone who would receive a ball in the flat as opposed to going through the hole or learning how to take a handoff. But they
A little
have
bit
to
of
be
a
so
safety
versatile
valve
today.
or
Yeah.
check down, Neil. The one long route they have is kind of a misdirection wheel route to where you get a big 7-step drop. Here's Akers as we speak. Ran a beautiful route. Ball was just a little late, but he sold the wheel route there and just ran a little comeback.
I always find the linebackers here at these camps in the 7-on-7 fascinating. It's one of the more tougher positions now because of not only the ability to stay within the front seven, but be used in coverage. Gotta
Yeah,
be
I
quick
mean,
and
this is
agile.
this is almost like a fish out of a water experience for them. I mean, when you go and watch a high school practice, about 80% of the practice is run oriented, and their linebackers are asked to fill the hole and step up in A back gaps and B gaps and C gaps. But at the next level, they're going to be asked to do this as spread offenses are. Got a wheel route to the left, almost in a nice one-hand grab. They're going to be asked to do it, and the biggest thing college recruiters are looking for and college programs are looking for is, can a linebacker flip his hips? I mean, we hear that term used all the time. Can the linebacker flip his hips? There's plenty of linebackers out there that can play B gap to B gap. They're a dime a dozen, but it is that linebacker when a team's going empty going to be able to match up on a tight end or a running back and flip his hips and stay with him.
One-on-one situations. The hybrids, if you will, the running back tight end combos going against the linebackers.
Pretty good coverage for a linebacker that weighs 250 pounds. Looks like we'll get to see with the linebackers here in a minute. The 107, Anthony Hines III, and quite an impressive offer list. He's up to 35-plus offers out of his freshman year out of East Plano, Texas, Neil. And he's not hard to miss with the hair. Stands in about
2017 class
6'3",
member.
about 6'6" with the hair. But he's had a good camp for a young player. He's not really a camp type, showcase type person because he's such a B gap to B gap player, just like we were just talking about. but he knows that this is part of his game he needs to work on. And then with Football University, since he's been a 7th grader, played in a couple of East Bay All-American games, and he'll be up to bat here in the next rep. I want the viewers to lock in on him. Maybe we'll get a good running back on him. This may be Trajan Voss. He didn't get a good ball, 177 out of Arkansas, but he's been a stud this week. Now here's Hines coming up, so let's see what he's going to get Chandler Cox. We got a matchup here. We got an Army All-American for 2015 versus a 2017 potential Army All-American, one of the strongest players in the country. And Lyndall Stone just said, Texas to Texas. I'll fire that ball in there. And to the Florida fullback that's going to Auburn, and he makes a heck of a catch. And you see the sportsmanship out there, Neil, after the rep.
Clearly having a good time, and Chandler Cox is trying to recruit his high school teammate, Martez Ivy, Popka, Florida kids.
Who's been down with the O-line, D-lineman all week. Coaches Bob Wiley and Jim McNally down there schooling him up. And I know Martez Ivy's having a tough decision. His best friend's Chandler Cox, and he's got to make a decision on best friend and best school. And so the nice, beautiful interception to our left. I know the Auburn faithful got excited last Wednesday as Chandler Cox tweeted out that him and Martez Ivy were headed to Columbus. The Auburn faithful thought that meant Columbus, Georgia. And it sent Twitter and Facebook and the social media all into a tailspin.
Well, I'm
There's
telling the viewers, you're a pretty
Acres on a
popular
little-
guy. You're up to, what, 5,000, 50,000 followers, 60,000?
Yeah, it's amazing what the 17-year-old population will do for you, and because they're not going to answer an email.
No, they will not. But they'll carry you in to orientation, and they did so with aplomb. That's always a fun event. Of course, we've got the best of the youth coming in next week to Dublin, the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. These are the high school stars, almost 700 of the top athletes. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage on 24/7 Sports. We're with Eric Richards.
All right, we got LeCount and Gibbs, who look to be inseparable at this point on the left hash with DBs and wide receivers. Back down on the offensive side, got Lyndall Stone and Trajan Voss at running back. This guy's going to be tough to catch out of the backfield and in the slot. Neil, this is your first look at 2 over 2, and the linebackers and running backs. It's in dedicated one-on-ones with 2 of them going at the same time. What do you see the difference?
I like it. I think that it creates some open space and matchups on the field. It's probably better too for all the scouts here to identify a little more clean and crisp. But this is a competitive group. They want to have the ability to say they had a pass breakup or a reception against one of the best in the country, and when you've got 7-on-7s, it's sometimes hard to do so.
Yep. And we come out in the afternoon session. We kind of throw a little twist on 7-on-7. We pair them up in teams, and we'll move the ball and play for first down and first scores. And then we're also going to incorporate our kickers that have been around this week, competing for East Bay spots and U.S. Army All-American spots. I know Chris Saylor and Coach Rubio named 2 U.S. Army All-Americans yesterday with a long snapper, Blake Ferguson, and the punter out of Florida. Also 2 East Bay All-Americans. Quentin Skinner is going to long snap for us in the 8th grade game, and Grant Gagne, the kicker, is going to be kicking for us in the East Bay game. And so they'll kickers will come out one more time, and they'll be incorporated into the 7-on-7 with a little extra point and field goal action.
A lot of depth with the long snappers and kickers here at camp. Well, Eric, we know we only have you for a few more minutes, but closing ceremony is a little bit later on. When you look at the consensus, you're clearly talking with some of the best instruction to get the their influence on what may make up a top 5 camper here. What's the process in maybe deciding who makes that list?
It's tough. Luckily, with the combination of Exo's digital scouting services and the instructors. I mean, we sit out here and look on the field, and you got Ray Buchanan coaching defensive backs, and Chris Miller and Jeff Rutledge coaching quarterbacks, and Robert Edwards and Lamont Jordan coaching running backs, Charlie Collins, Billy White Shoes Johnson, Stacey Bailey coaching receivers. I'm able to rely on guys that, you know, have seen more than their fair share of talent and evaluating them. We're going to go kind of with a top 5 format, and that doesn't mean that the 6th guy isn't a better player. It just means those top 5 might have had a better camp or a better day or a better session. So we're going to go with the Top Gun top 5 camp awards. In addition to that, over 150 U.S. Army Junior Combine invites are going to go out from this camp to our 2016 and 2017 class. That's quite an impressive number. It's over 25% of what we'll have on a national stage down there in San Antonio in conjunction with the U.S. Army Bowl. 500 of the best underclassmen in the country coming down to compete for the future 2016 year U.S. Army All-American game.
And we should mention, too, in our finale here with Eric Richards, you're watching the 2-on-2 coverage, the venue switch to Naples, Florida.
Yep.
Which will have the East Bay Youth All-American Bowls as well as the FBU National Championship.
I got the pleasure to go down with our marketing director, Joe Buffard, and kind of pre-scout out the place. And let's put it this way. The final 4 teams from each age group and the East Bay Youth All-American athletes, you're going to love your hotel. If you want to throw a rock up, throw a seashell and hit the ocean, you can.
Well, telling by your tan, I know you've spent a lot of time outside of the camp season at the ocean. So thanks for stopping by, Eric. All the best. And another great camp here, FBU Top Gun 2014.
Thanks for having me, Neil, and we appreciate the partnership with Exos and All-American Games and 24/7 Sports. Hosting had Barton Simmons out, one of the best in the business yesterday, doing some evaluating and Wednesday night. So appreciate it, and I'm going to get back down here and help Chad Carpenter run things.
You do that, and we'll have Geiska Crowley from Exos. Speaking of our great digital partner, he'll step back in here, and we'll talk about maybe some names that haven't been on the radar for the last 48 hours but have impressed. As you're watching here at Dublin Jerome High School, and while we have Geiska joining us in just a little bit, we want to talk a little bit more about the linemen. We had some coverage yesterday with Barton Simmons of 24/7 Sports, but had a chance to talk with Juan Harris, who's one of the big stars of the future, class of 2017 here at Top Gun. Juan Harris, member of the class of 2017, one of the top lineman prospects in the country here at Top Gun. Back again, my friend. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, sir.
What's it like being back here for a 2nd year in a row?
Oh man, it's a pleasure, man. I have to take a bus down here, 11-hour drive, man. It was a long way, but you know, it was worth it. It's a great feeling being here. You know, SBU really take care of their players. So,
what did you learn last year at this camp that's going to help you prepare for this year?
To always be ready, prepare yourself. You know, because you never know what you got coming. Just like I just picked up a few offers and stuff like that. But I mean, you just got to prepare yourself, get yourself in shape, make sure you learn all the techniques, study them. I mean, it's a lot.
Were you satisfied with the way you played your freshman season?
I did okay. You can always do better. I mean, you always learn from your mistakes, so, you know, you can always improve.
Now that you're one of the veterans of Top Gun, you've seen the FBU experience. What do you like to share with some of the new guys that you've maybe met this week so far in your early stages, right in here in day one?
Always stay humble, always work hard. Always got to work hard. You got to always work harder than the next man because you never know what that man got for you. So.
Good advice. Listen to him. Juan Harris, all the best to you. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
One you can't miss, Juan Harris from Niles, Illinois. He made the 10-hour bus ride for his 2nd Top Gun. So many schools on his radar. He's just a sophomore. And the linemen have impressed some of these wide receivers, these defensive backs. You're watching the 2-on-2s. Geiska Crowley is back with us here as we bring you the coverage from Top Gun 2014. He's with Exos Digital. He's the Midwest scouting director. Good to see you again, Geiska.
Good seeing you, Neil.
Well, we were collaborating prior to the start of this. We know some of the big names, but there have been a few that have caught your eye, maybe that weren't initially on that initial list of who to keep an eye out for here at camp.
It's been a good group of underclassmen. You know, there's a lot of focus on the seniors with recruiting, obviously, with them making their decisions in the next 8 to 12 months. But a lot of underclassmen, a lot of good skill players, some big young offensive and defensive linemen that we as a group at Exos really have focused in on. So it's a bright future at FBU Top Gun, and it's a great. It's really exciting to see such a good group of young guys.
Before we throw a few of those names out, the ones we knew that were going to be prime-time performers, the Deion Canes, the Gibbs, the Hines, the LeCounts, they have not disappointed here at this camp.
Not at all. And it's what Eric was speaking earlier in the broadcast was talking about. You like to see those guys go what they call good versus good. You know, they don't shy away from each other in the 7-on-7 lines. They don't shy away from each other in the 1-on-1 lines. You know, they want the best reps they can get, and here at Top Gun you can get that.
We went to a single quarterback setup. He started with the field split in half.
This is going to be a little bit tougher on the quarterbacks. They got to make what they call full field reads. So he's going to have to go from his left or his right or vice versa, depending on the scheme the coaches draw up. So it's gonna be a tough task when everyone knows you're throwing the ball. You know, it's difficult for the quarterback with the coverages. You know, there's a lot of too high, what they call coverage, a lot of man coverage with the too deep safety. So it's going to be a lot on the quarterbacks. You know, data processing, making a good decision, and not forgetting about your fundamentals, making a good solid throw from the bottom half up to the arm.
We're seeing more of the traditional setup. That's a great read, but the throw just a bit too much. Off the fingertips of Kyrie Henderson from Baltimore, Maryland.
Nowadays, too, with so many spread offenses, you lose your fullbacks, you lose some of your tight ends. But we've got some big young men down here on the field. You know, some of the flex players. We spoke yesterday about versatility. Mm-hmm. You know, a guy that can line up inside, a guy that can line up outside. He can be a weapon in the passing game and also a blocker. So it's fun to see the big guys like number 355 down there in the headband lining up at wide out. And Cam Akers down here in the slot as well in the red jersey. He is what, all the kids during the registration, they all wanted to be athletes. You know, I don't want to be a wideout. I don't want to be a running back. I want to be an athlete. You know, they want to line up all over the field.
I'll show
have
what
some
you can
versatility.
Do, right?
You know, get the football in their hands, and that's what football is nowadays.
That was a deadly combination in the slots right there with Akers on the near side and Chandler Cox the far.
The linebacker on the top of the screen in the red sleeves is Anthony Hines III, which Eric spoke to earlier. Big time player. He's young. We had our evaluation, player personnel meetings last night talking about him, how he's a big, strong kid. He's got some work to do in the weight room, on the lower half, getting his legs stronger. It's going to be the 7-on-7 is great, but sometimes when the pads come on and a 330-pound offensive guard's running at you, you got to show the strength in the lower half as well.
Well, that's still part of the process, and here at FBU, it's not just on the field mechanics; it's in the classroom. It's strength training programs too to help them get ready for the next phases of their careers. This is Top Gun 2014, second year in a row here in Dublin, Ohio. We're just about 20 miles northwest from downtown Columbus, the capital city. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage the last few days. We've got one more session for you later this afternoon. That'll start around 3:15 Eastern, leading you right up to the finale of camp, just past the 4 o'clock hour. Iska Crowley's from Exos and their Midwest scouting director. Watching more of the traditional 7v7 setup. That's Victor. Just long strides, rangy kid.
Yeah, I spoke with him a little bit yesterday, after the workouts, after practice. He's a nice young man. He's just wants to come up here and compete against some of the best players in the country. He's got the world in front of him. You look at him, tall, thin, lean muscle. Maybe an outside receiver. Maybe you bulk him up. You can play safety down the line. He's got the world in front of him, though. Great player from South Florida.
Just find and throw. They had a tough window to fit in there because Trayvon Mullen was dropping into coverage. One of those Coconut Creek kids. It helps when you're coming to a camp of this magnitude, maybe to have a good support system and your teammates with you.
It is.
Help
It
you
is. A lot of
perform.
those guys like making those trips to the camps. You've got guys you can not only room with at night and enjoy the experience here at FPU, but also maybe have a little on-field chemistry. And that's what's so great about the youth camps that FPU puts on. Is a lot of these players have been playing with each other, even though one may be from Georgia, one may be from Ohio. They might have played together in the youth tournaments and the youth camps for years. So that chemistry is crucial. To especially in the 7-on-7, the timing. What moves, what stems is what they call it, how the wide receiver releases off the line, so the quarterback can be in conjunction with him. So yeah, it's very important. It's great to have some common faces.
Adam Vance, the quarterback on this set.
It's one of those under the radar guys we talked about. Neil, number 20 is Winston Boykin. He's from Marietta, Georgia. He's an uprising senior. A little on the shorter side, but real good in space. He's playing a lot in the slot today. Definitely a get the ball in your hands, make you miss kind of kid.
I got Lindell Stone, Cam Akers. And Chandler Cox. Once again, those guys lined up in the slot, and it's Akers with the reception.
Akers and Cox are another guys. Cox being the older player committed to Auburn, Akers being a younger guy from Mississippi. But it's all versatility. Cox is an H-back in Auburn's offense. He'll play some fullback. He'll play some tight end. He'll move back and forth. He's just a weapon. He's a guy that you want to get the ball in his hands. He's a big, strong kid, but he's also got some speed that is going to play all over the field. Akers is the same way. Gone to the days of the 25 to 30 touch and game tailbacks. Now it's, like we said, it's making plays in different ways. And that's what's great. Great in the 7-on-7. You've seen kids line up all different places.
Yeah, you may get 20 touches, but half of them will be in the flat as a receiver.
Absolutely.
Or over the middle as the check down option.
Nice smash route right there. Interception by number 141 is a defensive back. Ron Carter is a big play by him.
He's out of Hagerstown, Maryland.
It's nice to see the quarterbacks making good decisions. Like we said earlier, you see those two safeties at the top of the screen. They're going to split to get on the hashes. The vulnerability of that defense is down the middle, down the seam. That's where your big tight ends, your Jimmy Graham types, Gronkowski is going to make the defense pay down the middle. You can see here at your screen, you've got nice wide spaces. The safeties are out on the hash. And the quarterback's going to try to look from the outside in to try to find a seam. With Victor down the middle right there, goes to him. Almost on cue, right down the middle. It's called a Tampa 2 is a famous defense right there. That the vulnerability is the seam.
They had a prime matchup too on the far side slot with Hines and Cox. Joe Pyle, the quarterback here.
D'Angelo Gibbs at the top with the stop, defensive back. Young kid, I think class of 2017, a rising sophomore. Playing a little corner, might play a little nickel on the inside. Could also play safety. Good quick decision by the quarterback right there. Number 34, Bruce Anderson III. He's a rising senior from Florida.
D'Angelo Gibbs, is he projected to be more of a defensive back? Because he's an excellent receiver, too.
Absolutely, he is. Yeah, he's a big, strong kid. Those are the guys that you like to see on defense. But definitely can make the transition if he needs to. Can play safety, like we said earlier. Could play the nickel. And those are the kids that, the coaches said, we just want them on our team. Whether it be a special teams guy, offense, defense. You figure that out when he's a 20-year-old, 19-year-old freshman. And, college coaches through the recruiting process don't really worry about that right now. when we're delivering them the information with Exos Digital, we try to provide all the film, the cut-ups, the evaluations, all the contact information. And like we said, we just get them on campus, and then we let those guys coach them up and try to find the best spot for them.
Good pass by the Floridian Ellis for the score.
There's 327 again at the top of your screen in the slot. They call the number 3 receiver. He's a third receiver in from the top. So undersized running back, DeVell Carr. He's has made an impact. He's a rising senior from Maryland down the middle of the field.
He was one of those kids who caught your eye from Clinton, Maryland.
So it's fun to see in these settings and at these camps. 20, 30 years ago, it was big tight end, big fullback, big tailback, 2 wide outs. You might throw the ball 10 or 15 times a game. Where here, they're going to get over 100 reps in a session. So it's fun to see them throw the ball around. A lot of kids get to play. A lot of kids get to get the exposure and see what they do. So it's fun to see.
The evolution of the game. And we're seeing some of the stars of tomorrow here at this elite camp from Football University. Top Gun.
Got Trayvon Mullen at the body of your screen at corner just off the picture. He's a young receiver, another one of those Coconut Creek kids. We talked a little bit yesterday about recruiting, and he said it was getting pretty hot, pretty heavy. He wants to stay where it's somewhere warm is what he told me. He goes, he doesn't really care. He's more worried about the coaching staff, but somewhere warm. So maybe the southern teams have a little advantage there.
Now the tight end, Purdue, falls incomplete. I was asking him who's faster, him or Malik Young, and neither would take the bait. I wanted to see him race before it was all said and done this weekend.
2 different body types, though.
Yeah.
Young's a little shorter, a little
Stocky.
stronger, a little squatter, where Mullen is your big corner is what they say now. With the Seattle Seahawks and a lot of the NFL teams, they want the big, strong corners that can defend. Mullen's got some work to do in the weight room, but long, lean, tall, definitely could project, could play safety at the next level. Like we said, with versatility, he can punch his ticket if he keeps working hard.
That last rep, not a bad throw by Stephen Bridget.
Little mix-up in coverage there. Instead of the 2-high safety, they went to a 1-high look. Middle linebacker was kind of a zone player. They matched up man everywhere else.
Deion Kane, he's been the talk of camp. Clemson commit. 2015 U.S. Army All-American Bowl. He's a receiver on the near side.
We've been able to see him a couple times in person this summer at the 7-on-2nd circuit down in Florida. He is a little bit of an overthrow right there, but he's all you want in a receiver. He's got versatility. He can play inside. He can play outside. He's a long strider.
It's a man's body, I'll tell you.
Absolutely. And what Clemson does, they want to get up and down the field. They want to play fast. Chad Morris is the offensive coordinator there. So Kane fits perfect in that kind of that basketball on grass is what they call it up at Clemson. Nice wheel route out of the back or out of the slot right there. Good throw by number 311 quarterback.
Coverage broke down. They've switched to 7-on-7. We were 2-on-2. DBs and receivers, running backs and linebackers early on. One more session to bring you live this afternoon. On an overcast day, the rain has drifted aside for the most part for now here in Dublin.
I think we might have jinxed the weather yesterday talking about how nice it was. I think that
The
might have
temperature
been
is
our
still very
fault.
pleasant. We'll say that. Ilsika and Geiska Crowley taking you through this early afternoon session. I want to thank Exos Digital for all their great work. Football University, the best at what they do, this instruction. As they're making some adjustments, some rotations here on the field. Maybe some individual player meetings as well, some group meetings. See some of those top instructors out there. Chris Miller, the quarterbacks. DJ Shockley, Jeff Rutledge, Ray Buchanan, longtime NFL player with the Falcons, and got Charlie Collins. So the names and the list goes deeper and deeper, not just the players, but the coaches too.
They do, you know, and we were talking about our personnel meeting last night is they feed each other. You know, they go, the players feed the coaches feed the players. The top players want to be coached by the top coaches want to coach the top players. And that's what FBU does a great job of getting NFL, college, and the high school game and kind of tying it all together. They do a great job.
Well, they appear to be wrapping up a little early, and the kickers are going to get back out on the fields. And we will transition. We'll have a final word with Randy Rogers for his assessment of the day. Geiska will be back in the afternoon session with us, and we'll get a look at some of these top prep stars one final time here at Top Gun 2014. So we'll have our closing thoughts in just a moment, but stay with us here on 24/7 Sports. Geiska, we'll talk to you this afternoon, my friend, but thanks for stopping by once more.
You are welcome. It's my pleasure, Neil.
Midwest Scouting Director, Exos, Geiska Crowley. And we'll leave you with some of these shots of the field, and Randy Rogers coming up in just a few moments here as you take a look at Top Gun 2014.
Okay, we're going to put a bow on this first session of day 3. It's the final day of the high school edition of Top Gun 2014. Neil Sika, he's Randy Rogers. He joined us yesterday. The Rogers Report covers Texas and a big part of Exos in our digital coverage. Good to see you again, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
What did you think of this first session? We saw maybe a little bit more of an individual focus with the 2-on-2s, the wide receivers and defensive backs, linebackers and running back.
Well, I think every practice there's a classroom session before they come out, so they introduce something in the classroom and then they go out and practice it, and then eventually they come to compete. So just the normal coaching progression.
You'll go back and make some assessments. You've got some players that have been on your radar. We've talked about some of the stars. Your overall thoughts on the quality of the camp?
Well, I think one thing becomes apparent when you get to the third day is that there are very few surprises with the 2015s. I mean, this is a group, all of us who are in the recruiting business, you kind of know who the guys are because they've had a lot of attention, and as the recruiting calendar gets younger and younger, you have to begin to turn your attention to the younger classes. So what you see in any camp environment like this is it's kind of like a pyramid, okay? The seniors are at the top, and then there's more juniors because there's more opportunity for them to develop, and then the big wide base is those 2017s, and oh, by the way, there's maybe a handful of 2018, 2019 kids, particularly at the quarterback position, who are here. So there's more players to evaluate at an earlier age. And that's what happened. That's what we're trying to do this morning is like, okay, we kind of know who the 15s are, and we think we know who the 16s, but boy, we had 4 coaches on the 17 field this morning to try to get a wider database of those kids so you can begin to study them this fall when you look at video.
Yeah, we were just speaking about that yesterday, the excellence in the younger classes, the 2016s and the 17s. You mentioned the quarterbacks, Lindell Stone, Davis Mills, they're making names for themselves, not only at their class, but for the entire camp.
Well, I mean, those guys have been promoted up here to the big boy field from the get-go, but this morning we're looking at 2 kids from Orange County who are 2019s. Now, they aren't even in high school. They're 7th graders going into 8th grade, J.T. Daniels and Hank Baumeier, who are both from Orange County, ironically, from Orange County, California, both in the same group, and they're really probably the 2 best kids down there, and they're 19s, and they're in a group competing with 17s.
One more session, you'll be on your way, but where do you go from here in terms of your breakdown and the most recent rankings going forward from here?
Well, that really is a responsibility of Dan Thompson, our national scouting director. I mean, I cover Texas. I'm here. I know the Texas guys and have experience as evaluators. So for me personally, go back and try to get back in the realm inside between the Red and the Rio Grande and focus on those kids. But there's a wide database, and the Exos team will look at all those kids and make sure they got enough information. I assume if there was me, put them on a database, and then the key is those kids, at least the 17s, will be varsity level players this fall as sophomores. You would think the good ones are, and you got to get video because really camps are nice and they do a great job here, but ultimately you want to study the player on video because it's real football. They got helmet and shoulder pads on, they got their body armor on. It's a different game than it is out here.
All right, the report, where can we find it online? It's through Exos, but where can we go?
Well, my report is not online. It's exclusively for college coaches. So I'm a little bit different in the industry, but people can reach me and look at my information at randyrogersrecruiting.com.
Randy, thanks for stopping by and sharing some expertise with us here at Top Gun.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Randy Rogers, Neil Sika. We will see you later this afternoon for the final session, Top Gun 2014. From Dublin Jerome High School here outside of Columbus. Until then, so long, everyone.
This year, we were able to use the iPad to pretty much do everything when it comes to looking at our plays, whole playbooks on there. So we're able to look at the plays, then look at cut-ups of the plays, so really watch film to see what's going on.
I think technology today has provided us with a easier and quicker way to get film to our players and coaches. Our coaches are expecting to watch film as soon as they get off the field every day. So it's our job to shoot the practice or shoot the game, cut it up and get it to them as quick as possible. So being able to get that to them cloud-based has made our job easier.
Now Exos Thunder is the operating system that NFL teams have been using, and it's the best way to watch tape, most efficient way for coaches and scouts.
I think it's a total package. I think they have the best product out there. I think they're head and shoulders above all the other products out there from what I've seen.
We have a specific role to do to keep football programs moving, and that's what our job is. And Thunder HD allows us to get that job done for the coaches. And you know, there's no other software out there for us that achieves that like Thunder.